Well, we're in the middle of a very wet May and I'm up the proverbial creek with this project and my paddle's in bits. Whew. Not sure how we're going to do this. Let's get going. Hello, well it's episode 4 of my entry to the Great Guitar Build Off 2021. 2 more episodes to go. Wow. Well, I've got a load of bits and according to my master plan I'm supposed to be assembling them. So I'm going to have to get on with it in this video. There's quite a bit to do. Fundamental to the whole construction of this guitar is the hidden pickups in the middle, which are going to be run in on this platter. Now, what I need to do is to create a channel that this is going to run in that will also be attached to a block that's going to hold the neck on, because the neck's going to be bolted through, and also it will hold a plate on the back at the end of the guitar here with a slot in it that the pickups can slide into. So I've done a bit of work off camera. What I've done is I've drawn up a template of this area here. This is where the neck will be fitted, and I've cut a block of wood to that template. So this is the sycamore, and so that's going to go there and the neck's going to be bolted onto there. Now it needs to be shaped underneath to match the neck, and what I think I'm going to do is try and carry on this strip of dark wood into this piece. So I've measured the width of the ankle at fret 16 and now I'm going to apply that and create a strip in the middle of this block. That's the first job I'm going to do. I'm then going to be cutting some pieces of sycamore to this template that I've made out of some scrap wood, and they will glue to the sides of this block, and that will form the channel in which that runs. So I'm just going to get on with this because there's a lot to do. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that recording music, playing guitars is as important to me as building guitars, and I just want to introduce you to the stars of this week's backing tracks. I'm using my a travel guitar, my walnut and olive travel guitar, to do the acoustic sounds. I've got my Tremonti SE PRS guitar for some of the lead parts, and I'm using my fretless bass for the bass. I hope you enjoy the music. There's a bit more of it this week because I need to get on with the build. Okay, I've got the neck block gluing. I've now cut out the two side pieces to the channel. So what I need to do now is to make a plate that's going to go across the back, and there'll be an access hole or slot that the pickups will slide into there. So that's my next job. Okay, I'm going to make a template out of cardboard. Just going to mark on it where the channels are going to be. Okay. Pretty good. I think we'll make that 15mm thick. I think I'm just going to cut that in half and use half of it, so I've got it symmetrical. Now I've got to shape the ends of the side channels so that they match the sort of contours of the guitar. So I've marked it roughly and I'm going to cut it with a saw. Okay, so this is the end piece of the guitar, and I've marked where the channel edges are, and I've also marked a centre line. Now then, this unit here has to slide in, and in order for it to do that, I think I've got to allow, well, it's probably about 28mm, but I think I should probably allow another mil at least, perhaps not even 2mm, so that would make it 30. So the question is, can I cut a slot in there 30mm deep without it weakening too much? I think I'll measure that out. That's going to be 15. It's going to be quite a big slot. Okay, I've marked it out as a 30 and a 28mm slot, and I think I'm going to cut it to 28mm and then just widen it very gradually. Okay, let's see if the pickup will slide in. I've got the pickup just sitting on the top of the tray there. And there we go. Whoops. That's it. That's going to go in there. As it's slid in place, it'll run up a slope on these side pieces, and that will raise the pickup so that they're, well, both the pickups, so they're both directly under the top of the guitar. That's the theory anyway. Before I can glue these side pieces in place, I need to sort out how the end of the guitar here and the neck bracket thing there will actually sit inside this shell. So I think that's what I need to sort out first. And I think I'll probably start with this neck block. I think I've reached the point when I've got to cut this side. I've got the block there for the neck shaped, and in theory I need to cut the side just there. So yes, let's go and do it. See, this is going to be easier said than done. I've actually sanded some of the bottom so it's shaped, so I'm going to have to come in from the top to get a square edge. Okay, that's the line. Okay, so, ooh, I think we're onto a winner there. That looks like that fits okay. Jolly good, okay. On a bit of a roll. Let's see if we can do the other side. Okay, what I'm trying to achieve with the back of the guitar, which will be the dark of ankle, is this nice shape that you get, and I think it's going to look quite smart underneath this block. So in order to achieve that, I need to cut this block so that these pieces don't protrude in front of that line. Now I've done it with this one here, but I noticed that I haven't done it with the other one, so I'm going to have to cut some more wood away there. I've discovered I've got another problem with this, and that is that when I put the block in the middle there, I didn't put it in central, and it's very important that that is central and that it's even on both sides. And the problem is this side is thicker than that side. Now it's important that the whole thing, the width of the whole block, is going to be 96, and so I'm going to have to add a piece of wood on this side to build this up, as well as take some off there. So I think I'm going to cut that off first and then find a piece I can just stick on there. Okay, I've cut that aside, and I've found this piece of wood, which is a piece of sycamore, which was a spare piece that I was going to keep for the side of the guitar, but it just so happens to be the exact thickness that I need. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this, stick it on the side of there. Okay, while the neck block is gluing, I'm going to address another problem, or try to address another problem that's going to bite me later on in this project, and that is the controls. Now, there's just going to be two controls on this. One is this rotary pickup selector, and the other is this volume control, and that's all I'm going to have on this guitar. But I want to seal the whole body. and I don't want any access plates anywhere. So I need to be able to have an arrangement where these are put in the guitar at the end, a bit like a ship in a bottle. Now then, they will go through this hole at the end there, so that's good, but I need to get them into this area, and of course I'm sealing it all off with this block. So the only thing I can think of doing is cutting a hole in this block around here, which shouldn't affect the pickups as they slide in, but it will allow me to poke these through, and with a bit of string and I don't know, various bits of tools and stuff on. Obviously there's also going to be a slot there, a sound hole just around here somewhere. I should be able to get my fingers in to do it. So I'm going to measure that and then cut a hole in there to that size. It was about 27 mil, so I'm going to go for a slightly bigger 30 mil Forstner bit. That should do it. I'm going to have fun trying to fit those later, I can see that. Okay, now then, what I'm going to do now is have a look at the back of the guitar, because I think it's about time I tried to start cutting it out. Unfortunately, the piece of wood that I've got for the back and the top of the guitar, well, the block that I cut them from, I should say, is slightly too small, so you can see it doesn't reach the end there if I push it to the end there. And to get round that, what I'm going to do is inset the back inside the edge, so that that will also give me a light border as well, a light binding effect. So it makes it more complicated because I can't just cut it out to this template and assume it's going to be right. I'm going to cut it slightly larger and then gradually shave it down until it actually fits the framework once I've glued all the edges together. But I think I need to make a start. Now I have penciled a few lines here. The outside line is the actual template line. The inside line is the line that I think I'll eventually have to cut to. I've just gone round the lines with a China graph so I can see it in this dark wood. So I think I'm ready to cut that out. Right, well I have the rough shape and I also have some offcuts which I can use over here, because I need to know how deep the back is so that I can position the kerfing. I've put a rough mark on there. I just want to confirm that that's about right, and it looks about right to me, so I think I should be okay to start sticking the kerfing on. Now before I do that, I just need to thin this kerfing down a little bit. Now when I tried to plane it in the past, I didn't have much luck, so I think I'm going to try and do it with a belt sander. It's just thinning that back. Okay, so I'm going to use this little jig, the idea of which came from Ben at Crimson Guitars. So I've set the thickness there, so let's give it a whirl. That seemed to work pretty well actually. Yeah. Okay. Right. Now then, time to stick some kerfing on. This should be fun. Let's do it in bits. Well, I feel like I'm making some progress. Whether it's in the right direction or not, only time will tell. I'm going to leave this to dry. While the kerfing cures on the sides of the guitar there, I'm going to start on the preamp for this guitar. Now, I'm going to use a design that I've used in the past. It's based on a chap called Donald J. Tillman's design using a FET transistor. And it's one that I include in my treble guitars, and I used in the Great Guitar Build-Off 2020 guitar last year. It's a fairly straightforward two-stage amplifier, and one of the stages has a high cut filter, and that's what I use on the piezo pickup. I don't have a printed circuit for it. I use actually some of this strip board, and I have a program on the computer called VECAD, which produces this diagram, and this can also be printed out life size, which is rather handy, because what I do is I stick it on the back of the strip board, and that gives me all the component positions. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let's just stick it on with a bit of print. Now, as I have covered this preamp before and done quite a bit of a detailed video of it, certainly in the Great Guitar Build-Off 2020. I won't go through all the details of this build. I'm going to try a slightly different approach this time. Okay, I've finished soldering the preamp and I'm pretty pleased with it. I haven't tested it, that's a job for another day. I have mounted on a small jack socket so that the piezo pickup will plug into there. I've got to still sort out how all the other pickups are going to plug in, but we'll sort that out another day. In the meantime, I'm happy with that. While I'm working on the electrics, there's one more thing I need to work out. And that is the fact that the pickup tray will slide out of the guitar, and I want to be able to disconnect it from the guitar. So that means I need a connector. Right, the humbucker pickups need to route through to a selector switch. It'll be a rotary switch. The piezo will go through the first stage of the preamp. The output from the selector will go to a volume pot, and that will then route back into the second stage of the preamp, and that will then go into the guitar to go to the jack socket. Each of these will need an earth. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line down here in the middle. So all of this is going to be on the platter with the pickups. All of this is in the guitar. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the earth wire 6. So I need a connector with 6 connections. The wiring isn't going to be quite as complicated as I thought it was going to be, and one reason for that is that I'm removing a switch that I normally include in my travel guitars that allows the pickups, the electric pickups, to go straight through to the jack without going through the preamp. Now, I don't think in this guitar that's going to be an option, because I think the pickups are going to be too far away from the strings to have a strong enough signal if they don't go through the preamp. So I'm taking a gamble and I'm going to route all the signals through at least one stage of the preamp. We'll just have to see how that works. Yesterday I stuck the kerfing on, so today I'm going to have a look at how it looks. Well, it's certainly stuck, so that's a good sign. Look at this one. Just got to finish that little bit off there. Okay, I made a bit of a mistake, which is not unusual for me, in that I put kerfing all the way round the back there, forgetting that I'd got to put the back plate in. So I've spared you the pain of watching me chisel that off. Anyway, I've done that. So that back plate will go in there. That looks okay. I think the thing to do now is to tackle this neck block, because what I want to do is to, if I turn it over and hopefully you can see this, I want to inset this base into this plate. So I'm going to have to cut about 3mm off the back of it. That's what I'm going to do now. This really is one of those situations where it's a hell of a lot easier than it said than it is done. I think it's got to be something like that. Okay, with the rain pouring down outside, let me explain what I've got to do. I've got to take off about a depth of 3mm from this part of the block, leaving that raised up. Now, I suppose I could do that with a router, but I'm not really clever with routers. So what I think I'm going to do is to make a block of wood, mount this on a block of wood, and then feed it into the bandsaw, so that hopefully that line is vertical and I get a nice cut up to that point. Okay, there we have it, and that's reasonably square. To be honest, I think I'm going to call it a day today. Didn't start until later in the afternoon, and this is going to need a lot of concentration, so I'm going to try that tomorrow. Well, that was an interesting cut, but it seems to have done the job. So if I put the centre line in, that will just butt up against there. I need to just tidy this edge up a bit, but then I've got to trim this down anyway. So the neck block is ready to be fitted. My next job is to sort out this tail piece, and for that I need a piece of cardboard. Okay, I've made myself a cardboard template of a wooden plate that's going to go on the tail of the guitar, the end. And I'm just going to mark it in this dark wood because I think it's going to look really smart. I'm marking it a bit bigger than I need, just in case I need to have some excess. Okay, cut that out. Bent that into shape. What I'm going to do now is clamp it to this back piece and just leave it overnight. Focus. Good morning. Well, I think this is going to be the last day of filming for this episode of the Great Guitar Build Off 2021. I've still got quite a bit to do today, so if you want to put the video on pause, go and make yourself a cup of tea. Go and make yourself a nice batch of scones. Yeah, you want some now. I'm really desperate to get these sides glued together, and that's what I'm going to try and do today. What I need to do first though is to cut the sides here so I can fit this panel in the back there. Now the theme on the back of the neck is obviously this dark wood, the light wood veneer, and then the sycamore. So I think what I'm going to do is follow that through and stick some of this veneer on the edge of there. So I'm going to get that sticking while I'm cutting out the sides. I'm not going to attempt to saw that curve. I'm going to cut it straight across and then shape it on the belt sander. Okay, I've done some rough shaping on these. I'm going to have to tidy that up once the back plate is dry and I can then fit it. I've got another job to do, and that is that these central beams that are going to form the sides of the channel are now too deep, because I worked out the depth of this, which I believe is 42 mil. So I'm going to have to reduce the size of these to 42 mil, and I'm going to need to work out again how high they need to be in the middle. So back over to the board. I'll put a bit of the material for the back underneath that one there and take a measurement. So I've got the shaky hand and it looks like it's, move that out of the way. Easier said than done as usual. What is it? 52. Okay, I've taken the measurements and I need to take 2 mil off the top and the bottom of these side pieces. I'm going to do that on the belt sander. Well, it just goes to show I got a much better finish with the hand plane than I did with the belt sander. It's the right tool for the right job. Now I'm going to cut out the slots that will allow these struts to sit in to the channel there. Okay, I'm getting close now. Let's see if this is stuck. Looks good, just need a little bit of tidying up on there. I've just clamped this back plate in position so I can mark out where I need to cut the slot. Well, I've got all the bits in place. They're all ready to be glued up, but this is going to be one hell of a glue up. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave you in suspense because this video's gone on too long. And all I want to say is thank you very much if you've got this far for watching me struggle with this build. It is coming together slowly but surely. And I'm confident we're going to get there. It's going to be tight. I hope you'll join me for the next episode. I'll see you then. There's just one more thing. This project is very much a joint effort between me and my wife Carolyn. Carolyn's a really good artist and designer. She's not a professional artist, it's something that she's done from her school days. But in the Use What You Got challenge, got an opportunity for her to really show what she can do. And she came up with a beautiful piece of artwork that matched the inlays that we did on this guitar. So we thought for the Great Guitar Build Off 2021 we'd do something similar, because the guitar's not going to have any pickups on the front, so there's a space for artwork. And while I've been working on the guitar, Carolyn's been working on some ideas for that design, and I think it's something special. So don't forget to watch next episode to see how that all comes out.